Good to have Dan Wilson with us. And Dan, the off-season as a manager, I'm sure, was a lot different than the off-season as a player. What were some of the differences, or maybe they weren't that different?
Yeah, no, it is different, no doubt about it. As a player, you go back home and you take some rest. I think as a manager, the wheels are always turning, and you're still thinking about what to do. And for me, coming into a new situation, kind of each step of this has been a new experience for me, and the off season is included. So still continuing to learn and figure out how to go from here. But I'm really excited when you get to this point. The holidays are over. You get to the new year. It's all about spring training and heading down there shortly, so really, really excited to get started.
I think of you as a manager, and I got to believe that you were picking some brains along the way over the last, several months. But was there a manager or two, former manager or former coach that you called and maybe just kind of tried to get a little input and how to do things?
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking for help. And I think a lot of the former managers that I've had kind of, start cycling through your mind, and some of the messages that they brought, the Lou Pinellas, the Bob Melvin, who we had here for a couple of years, even going back to Tony Perez that I had in Cincinnati, and some of the things that they emphasized, and a couple of the guys that I've talked a little bit with Mike Matheny, who was a great manager for St. Louis for a number of years. So you're always trying to learn, to find out what you can do to make guys better, and we have a great coaching staff as well that has quite a bit of experience on it, and always bouncing things off of them as well. So it's a continued learning experience, no doubt.
Yeah. How about as far as having a full spring training and a full season? And it has to be a huge advantage for you to start in February than when you did.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you jump right into something, it's a little bit different and a little bit more difficult. But yeah, getting a chance now to kind of set the bearings straight and start with the team in Arizona at the beginning of spring training, and then working your way through the season is a huge advantage. And so really looking forward to getting down there, getting reacquainted with the guys. That's always something that's fun, and spring training is a great time in the beginning to it's loose, it's fun. And then to start really looking forward and preparing for that first few games and that opening homestand. And we open here at home, which is exciting. So I think it's going to be a great spring training. It's a group that knows each other, and they played with each other for a long time. So it's a group that is going to be excited to get started.
Okay, Jerry made it clear that he wasn't going to trade any starting pitchers. He didn't want to part with any starting pitchers for anything. He just loves the core. And as a manager, when you look at a starting rotation, do you think that that's where it all starts for a team? Like that is the backbone of a team, and you kind of build out from there? Yeah,
I mean, the old saying is that the pitching and defense wins championships, and that is for sure. We've got a great pitching staff, and we talk a lot about our starting five. Maybe a little bit more unsung is our bullpen. His bullpen's been very strong over the last couple of years, and certainly down the stretch last year performed very, very well for us. And when you've got a good starting group, you need a bullpen that's going to maintain that lead throughout the game when they come out, and our bullpen has done that. Our starting five, you feel comfortable with any one of those guys when you get out there, and it's a luxury as a manager to be able to put those guys' names in the lineup each and every day. And you've got some young guys, you've got some the older veteran in Luis Castillo, and then you've got these guys in the middle, the Logan Gilberts and George Kirby and Bryce Miller as well. These guys that have really taken big leaps and big steps in their careers, and their ability to work with each other is something that's pretty exceptional. So a lot of credit to Trent Blank and Pete Woodworth, the pitching coaches, but it's really a great group from top to bottom.
All right, I dive into the business side just for one question, and because it seems like a lot of fans are curious about the offseason. So without getting into the weeds, as the manager, you see your team and what they're doing in the offseason. Were you surprised at all at the ability or inability to go out and get other players? Or what is your take when all the fans are pounding on the desk going, man, we need bats and we need this? As the manager, and you're sitting there watching, how do you react to that? And did you kind of expect this is the way the offseason was going to go?
Yeah, I think this is what we expected. I mean, I think when you look at what we had towards the end of the season, the way the guys responded, the message that Edgar brought offensively. These guys really played well, and we talk about all the things that we were able to accomplish in that last month and a half of the season. We were at the top of the league. We won a lot of ball games. We just played good baseball, and knowing that we've got that group back is exciting. And starting, like you mentioned, at the beginning of spring training with this group. And the trick, I think, is to get that group to be playing consistent baseball from beginning to end all the way through the season. And that's what we're excited about when we get down there. It's a good group. They've played well together. They're familiar with one another. We're ready to roll.
Yeah, I think Jerry made a good point, saying that that final 6 weeks of the season, when you guys came in, there were some adjustments made, and the addition of you, of course, Edgar, really helped this team offensively. And so, I mean, there's numbers that back that up. But how much of it, Kevin Seitzer is now your new hitting coach, but Edgar's going to be around. How much credit does a hitting coach get and deserve, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question. They seem to take the blame at the wrong time and don't get the credit. But I think, a couple things with Edgar. It's not just the message that Edgar brings, which is an exceptional message, but it's the way in which he delivers it, and the humility that he has, and his ability to communicate with players. He understands hitting top to bottom, whether it's physical or the mental side of it. He really understands and can really help guys change what they do at the plate. And then you mentioned Kevin Seitzer, Bobby Magianis, a couple of new hitting coaches that we brought in. These guys were in Atlanta and were the major league hitting coaches for a very successful Atlanta offense as well. And Seitz had been there for 10 years, was a great player before that. So his voice is very similar to that of Edgar's. It's going to be a great group in terms of our offensive coaching. They're going to get a very consistent message, and it was one they responded to so well last year.
How about you in the playing days? Did you ever go to Gar for tips and things like that? He ever help you through anything?
Of course. We all did. And then we told him try hit 300 with our swing. It's just a lot harder. But that's what made Gar so different and so exceptional, is that he looked at hitting so differently. But he was able to communicate that, and so many guys he helped along the way because of that. And again, not just I think the default is where should I hold my hands or where should I put my feet. He was able to more speak to that mental mindset when you get in the box and what you should be looking for and thinking. And that's is equally as important.
Okay, so let's look ahead to this. You got a young core, a lot of young stars on this team, up-and-coming stars. But when they've had a year under their belt at the plate, there's also this expectation, I would imagine, as an organization, that you want these guys now to take the next step. Even the Julios out there, where it's like, you can improve upon what you did last year. I mean, I would imagine there's an expectation with these guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I think in this game especially, there's always room to grow. It's a game that's we talk about it a lot. It's interlaced with failure. Like there's failure everywhere, 7 out of 10 times. But there's always room to get better, and that's what we're doing offensively. Is we're getting better. And you're right. The expectation is there. I think those expectations are good. It makes players rise to the top, and we're hoping to bring that expectation to spring training. Everybody is looking to get better, and that's what makes this group so special. Is that to a man, they want to get better, and I think we see it definitely on the pitching side. We've seen it on the offensive side, and again, what we saw towards the end of the season. Those guys, they made a lot of changes, and whether it was a mental change or a physical change, and it played out on the field, and we're excited to get started with that.
Yeah, it was noticeable. I mean, to everyone that watched the Mariners in the late stretch of the season, for sure. Over 30 non-roster invitees coming to spring training. Can you give us a name or two that you think might break out this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you look at the player development system that we have in Seattle, ranked number 1 in all of baseball. It's a great player development system. The scouting department does a great job getting players in. The player development does a great job of developing those guys into becoming great players. And we've got a lot of good players, a lot of good position players and pitchers down in the minor leagues. And spring training is an opportunity for them to make an impression on the coaching staff and whatnot. So, you got guys like Cole Young, Colt Emerson on the infield side, Brandon Garcia, Logan Evans on the pitching side. These are guys that you will hear about in spring training, and they've come up through our system. Lazaro Montez is another one, that an outfielder with big power. So these guys that you've heard about, in the minor leagues, they're going to get a chance to show what they can do in big league camp, and it's going to be exciting to see how they do.
Well, Julio was once one of those guys,
Yes.
and he jumped up, and now he's a leader on this team, and he's infectious. The way he plays, his personality among the players and in the dugout and after celebrations and things like that. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about having a guy of his caliber and his personality and everything he does on your team. Got to be huge.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what he brings to this club, not just on the field. I mean, he's a guy that does it on both sides of the baseball. Hits for power, hits for average. Defensively, we've seen him make great plays in the outfield. But his energy, you touched on it, and his leadership, for a young guy is exceptional. And he continues to get better and better, and it's been fun to see his career develop over the years, and I know he's looking forward to another great season this year. And you're right, Paul. All players ask for is an opportunity, and what they do with that opportunity is up to them. And Julio got that opportunity and really has taken it to a great level, and we're going to continue to see that.
Okay, just a couple more questions for you as we wrap this up. But you're talking about as a player. Did you think that 6 weeks of spring training is too long or right about the right number?
Well, probably as a player you think it's too long, and maybe as a manager you think it's too short. So it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, I think the idea of spring training has changed quite a bit. I think back in the day it was more of a time for players to get ready for the season. I think players come to spring training now pretty much ready to go in a lot of ways, and look at spring training as a way to get some reps at bats and get some innings in. But however you slice it, I think that the key is that you use this time in spring to prepare yourself for, in our case, March 27th here at home. It's getting your body ready. It's getting your mind ready, really, especially as the season gets closer, to get ready for that grind. And the 162 game grind is no joke, and it's being ready at 7 o'clock every night for 162 games to let it all hang out on the field, and that's what these guys are excited about doing this year for the fans here in Seattle.
Okay, lastly, you did that for 12 years with the Mariners, letting it all hang out. A tremendous player back in the day. And I got to ask you this because I always like to hear from the player himself. But there were three huge things. Let's take out 1995. Okay, I don't want you using that as a crutch, Dan. Well, give me your best memory as a player, your individual accomplishments. I've got three off the top of my head. I'm not even going to bring one of them up because I want you to tell me what stands out when you look back at your career. A highlight, a play, something that,
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I mean, 95 would have been the one. So I'm gonna say this is a little
Judges. You already broke the rule.
Family Feud. We're done. I think the 2001 season, 116 wins. Not only the success we had on the field. I think that moment we had after 9/11 when we clinched it. Is just one of those moments that just lives in your heart, and the deepness of it. That night, the silence during the national anthem, just how impactful that was for the country, and then just that celebration that we had, or non-celebration that we had post-game. Very, very deep meaning as a player. That was probably a very special moment for me.
Yeah, I think that's a tremendous memory for sure as the team and organization as a whole. So selfishly, I'm going to ask you individually, 3 home runs in one game, at one point 20 putouts, which was tying a major league record at the time in one game, or 3 home runs on the inside the park grand slam. Those three things. Rate those three.
I will say that it's got to be the grand slam, the inside the park, only because I get that so often. So many people, were there at the game, or they remember that. That's the one memory I get. Maybe it was because I was a catcher. It just doesn't happen very often. But what a great moment. It's not. I don't recommend getting a grand slam that way. It's a bear on the aerobic system. But what a great memory and a great time, and the life in the kingdom was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, rare moment for sure. Well, man, it's always great to sit down, chat with you. A great opportunity for us here to be able to chat with you before spring training starts in your first full season as a Mariners manager. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you throughout the season. Best of luck.
Great, Paul. Thanks for having me.
All right.